Hello everyone, my name is Chris and welcome back to another movie review. Today I'm gonna be reviewing Call of the Wild, and as usual I'm quickly gonna go through the story of this movie to tell you in short what this movie is all about. Then I'm gonna share my own opinions and thoughts about this movie, so in case you didn't watch it, one big spoiler alert across the screen. And yeah, just click away from this video and come back after you watch this movie if you want to. If you don't want to, you don't have to, it's totally okay. But if you really are interested right now in my opinions and thoughts about this movie, then stay with me till the end of this video and let's get started. Alright guys, Call of the Wild is a movie that's been released this year, and it's adventure slash drama type of a movie, and it follows the story of a dog called Buck. He is a family dog, a huge family dog that causes a lot of trouble around the property, and he's a very famous dog because he's a dog of a judge that is very popular in that town. And they all love him, but he's very naughty. He causes a lot of trouble. He breaks things constantly. That family really does love Buck, but when he does all of these bad things, they get really mad at him. And one day he gets stolen by these thieves and he gets sold to people on Antarctica. And the reason why these thieves sold Buck to these people on Antarctica is because back in those times people used to use dogs for dragging sleds. If you ever seen the sled and just a pack of dogs that drags it. And the Buck was sold to this guy that was a mailman on Antarctica. And that's first when Buck kind of felt disconnected from the home. He was really far away from home, and that's where he meets this mailman and his pack of dogs. And at first Buck doesn't really fit in. It's really hard for him to fit in and now do all these things, because he used to be a dog that he just would lay around the house every day just enjoying the food his owners would give him, and he was privileged by everyone and loved. And now he just has to work all these things he never done before, and he starts to turn into a wild dog. That's why movie is basically called Call of the Wild. He starts to feel that Call of the Wild in him, and that's where things start to get interesting for Buck. After he spent some time with this mailman again sells him to the other man. The reason why he sold him is because the route he was using to deliver mail around the Antarctica gets cancelled. The mailman loses his job, and he had to sell all of his dogs. And Buck started to really love the pack. He even became the leader of that pack, and other dogs start to respect him as well. And then one day this evil man that wants to use Buck again for dragging the sled, but the reason why Buck doesn't really want to go with that man is because that man is evil. He beats dogs and he yells at them, and he wants to use them again for dragging sled, but his goal is to reach the gold mine and get some gold. And a lot of people in Antarctica back then, in those days, used dogs for dragging sled and gold. And this man was really evil. Buck didn't like him. And then this character called Jack, which is, by the way, played by Harrison Ford, that is now 77 years old. And I'm a big fan of Harrison Ford. Honestly, I enjoyed his Indiana Jones movies a lot as a kid. I also enjoyed the Star Wars movies. He has so many popular movies, and he's a great actor in my opinion. And he also has a tragic story behind him. He meets Buck. He saves him from this evil man. Unfortunately, he doesn't save the rest of the dogs that were with the Buck, but he saves the Buck and he connects with him. He tells Buck his story, how he lost his son, and that he wants to go on an adventure behind the hills. And he goes on the adventure behind the hills with the Buck to find again himself and his purpose, because before he met Buck he was just an alcoholic and he was lost and depressive. And then after they go on this adventure, Buck then finds a pack of wolves over there in that forest behind the hills, and he goes with those wolves. Jack unfortunately gets killed by the guy who he rescued the buck from. The guy comes after him. He realizes that he discovered where the gold is, and Jack tries to collect some gold to make a living. He totally accidentally found the gold. He wasn't going for the gold. He was going for the adventure and to find purpose again. And at the end, the movie is really sad, and then Buck wanders into the wild with the dog, with those wolves, and you just see a dog basically becoming a wolf, and you follow this story of this dog becoming a wild dog, and this story of this man and his tragic past, and that's pretty much what the entire story of this movie is all about. Now, I love this movie, and I love talking about it because it has actually an interesting story that has a strong message, interesting characters. There's so much you can learn from this dog in this movie, and that's why I respect this movie actually so much. I think this movie was amazing. I really enjoyed this movie. It was phenomenal. This movie was made by a book, by a novel. I don't know who wrote it exactly. I didn't read the book. But yeah, this movie was made by a book called Call of the Wild, of course. And yeah, I think this movie was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I cried a lot, not gonna lie. There is so many sad scenes when this guy comes in, when he starts beating his dogs and Buck. And I personally am very sensitive to that because I had a dog that passed away like 3 months ago. I loved him. He was my best friend for 10 years. We grew up together, and I just don't like when I see people beating dogs or anything. So it was pretty sad, though. Those scenes were pretty sad for me to watch. Again, I really like the Buck. He's the dog, and he is a CGI made dog, which you can see in the movie, and I think the CGI is not bad at all. Actually, I totally enjoyed the CGI. I think it was great. The CGI they made with the dogs in this movie are great, in my opinion, and I loved Buck as a character. Even though he's a dog, he has a lot of human emotions. I remember there is a scene when these other dog that was leading a pack for pulling the sled before him. He was a leader of the pack, and all the dogs listened to him. But the problem was that this leader of the pack, this dog, he wasn't really a leader. He was just a boss. He only thought of himself. And there is a scene when all the dogs are thirsty, and this leader of the pack breaks the ice, and when the other dogs tries to drink water, he just tries to bite him, and he just drinks for himself, only for himself. And then the Buck goes and makes another hole in the ice for all the dogs to drink, and that's how he gained the respect from other dogs in the pack and became the leader of the pack. So this movie, actually, this dog can teach you so much. He can really teach you how to be a human, and he can teach you the right behavior and the right human qualities. And I was really surprised by that. I didn't expect to learn so much from a fucking dog. Like, come on. This movie was really touchy. It has a really amazing story, heart-touching, really warm story, and I really like the Jack as well, the Harrison Ford's character. His story was also pretty sad when he told Buck how he lost his son and all of that. It was pretty sad, and you know, he's just a man trying to find a purpose, and again, you can learn from that a lot. So this is one family movie, I would say, that you can sit and watch with your family or by yourself, and you will still have a lot of things to learn. When you watch this movie, you actually realize there's so many things you can learn from this movie, and the movie has a really strong message, and I like that adventurous vibe and like drama that this movie had. It was really enjoyable movie, and I personally didn't read the book. If you like reading the books, I would totally recommend you to check out a book, because I know the books are always better than movies, but the problem is I'm not a guy who likes to read a lot, and it's pretty annoying to me. But if you're a person who loves to read books, I totally recommend you to check out the Call of the Wild book and read it. I think it's even better than the movie. So yeah, I think I said everything I wanted about this movie. I enjoyed it a lot. I totally recommend you to check it out. No matter what genre of movies you like to watch, I think you're gonna find this movie interesting. If you even wanna care about human real qualities, at least a little bit, I think you're gonna be really surprised and interested in watching this movie. So yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this movie review, then go ahead and leave a like, share, comment, or subscribe if you want to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's totally fine. I do this as my hobby. I like talking about movies, playing video games, all of the things I do on my channel, and it just relaxes me. I pretty much do this for myself. But if there is anyone who enjoys what I do on YouTube, and maybe you stop by and watch my videos, you can support me if you want by subscribing, commenting, sharing my videos, or whatever. If you want to, again, you don't have to if you don't want to. You can also join my Chris Facebook group. Link is down below in the description, together with my Ask.fm, where you can leave me any questions. If you have any questions, I'll answer to them as soon as I see them. And I love you. Thank you for watching this video, if you watched it. And I'll definitely see you in the next videos, guys. And Chris out.